How much are the leaders of the world's nations compensated for the immense responsibility they shoulder? In 2025, the salaries of state leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and monarchs vary dramatically across the 195 countries recognized by the United Nations. Tonight, we're diving into the fascinating world of political paychecks, exploring the factors that influence these figures and taking a look at some of the highest and perhaps surprisingly modest salaries on the global stage. It's important to understand that a state leader's salary isn't just about personal wealth. It's a complex issue tied to a nation's economic status, cost of living, the size and complexity of its government, and public perception of what constitutes fair compensation for such a demanding role. Transparency around these figures is also crucial for maintaining public trust and accountability. However, precise and up-to-the-minute data for all 195 countries can be challenging to obtain and subject to change. Our analysis will draw upon the latest available information and established trends. So, who are some of the leaders believed to command the highest salaries in 2025? Historically, leaders of economically powerful and developed nations often top the list. For instance, the Prime Minister of Singapore has often been cited as having one of the highest state leader salaries globally. This reflects Singapore's high cost of living, its economic success, and the government's philosophy of attracting top talent to public service through competitive compensation. Other leaders from wealthy nations in North America and Western Europe also typically feature high on the list. The President of the United States, for example, receives a significant salary, along with various allowances and benefits. Similarly, leaders in countries like Switzerland and others with robust economies and high living costs tend to have substantial compensation packages. These salaries are often justified by the scale of their responsibilities, the complexity of their national economies, and the need to maintain a certain standard of living commensurate with their international standing. However, the title of richest state leader by salary isn't always straightforward. Currency exchange rates can fluctuate, and the cost of living varies enormously between countries. A seemingly high salary in one nation might have significantly less purchasing power than a lower salary in another with a more affordable cost of living. Therefore, simply looking at the nominal salary figure doesn't always paint the complete picture. On the other end of the spectrum, many state leaders, particularly in developing nations or those with smaller economies, receive considerably lower salaries. This doesn't necessarily reflect a lack of dedication or the importance of their role. Instead, it often mirrors the economic realities of their countries and the resources available for public expenditure. In some cases, leaders might even prioritize symbolic leadership over high personal gain. Here in Islamabad, Pakistan, the salary of the Prime Minister of Pakistan is determined by the country's economic conditions and budgetary allocations. While the figure might not be as high as some of the leaders we've mentioned in wealthier nations, it's a significant position of responsibility within the context of Pakistan's development and its regional influence. The compensation package would also likely include benefits and allowances in addition to the base salary. It's also worth noting the different structures of leadership across the globe. Some countries have a clear separation of powers with a president as the head of state and a prime minister as the head of government, each with their own distinct salaries. In monarchies, the financial arrangements for the royal family and the head of government can be quite different and often involve intricate systems of public funding and private wealth. Attempts to create definitive lists of the richest state leaders by salary in any given year often rely on publicly available information, which can be outdated or incomplete. Furthermore, some leaders may have significant personal wealth unrelated to their official salary. Transparency initiatives in many countries are pushing for greater disclosure of public officials' compensation, but there are still nations where this information remains closely guarded. In 2025, while the exact figures for every state leader in all 195 countries may remain elusive, the underlying factors influencing their compensation will likely persist. Economic power, cost of living, governmental structure, and public sentiment will continue to shape the financial rewards associated with leading a nation. The disparity in salaries reflects the vast economic and social differences that exist across our interconnected world. Ultimately, the debate about state leaders' salaries often revolves around the balance between attracting capable individuals to these critical roles and ensuring responsible use of public funds. What constitutes fair compensation is a question that each nation must grapple with in its own context. The figures for 2025 will undoubtedly continue to spark discussion and scrutiny as citizens around the world assess the value and effectiveness of their leadership. Understanding the landscape of global leaders' salaries offers a unique glimpse into the economic and political priorities of nations in 2025. While a definitive ranking may be challenging, the trends and influencing factors provide valuable insights into the complex world of international leadership.